to develop land for a tiny house community. Now, prepare to embark on a phenomenal adventure. This area, tiny homes, has exploded, and I'm going to show you how to make this happen. I'm going to show you how to identify the best area. I'm going to show you how to get the right manufacturers for the tiny homes and who is your target customer to make sure this is a profitable venture for you and your family. There's big money in this. Stay tuned and we'll show you how. Number one is, who are you targeting? Okay, so who is your consumer at the end of this? And this is a great subject, okay, because housing is becoming almost unreachable for the first-time home buyer out there, and this has become a big area. Not only that is, there's a lot of opportunity. So I have found pieces of property, and let your imagination soar. And I'm just going to give you a shoulda, coulda, woulda example. So years ago, we found this 5-acre property, and I'm like, you know what? We need to do something with it. We couldn't quite figure it out with the local codes and what have you. And I thought, well, wait a second. Why wouldn't we get a bunch of old Airstream campers and have them put on this property to have a small community within the whole thing where there's carports going up to it, not like your trailer park. I mean, a really unique facility for people to go in there and really enjoy a community-like atmosphere. And everybody laughed at me. And then about 3 years later, I had a friend of mine who says, I need you to go drive by something. And I said, what is it? He goes, you'll see. And I drove by that very community, and guess what was there? There's 28 Airstreams put in this unique area. They had a pool, a swimming pool area, fire pit. I mean, it was a community. And it wasn't like the trailer park, you know, with wife beaters and, you know, Bud Lights. It was literally a beautiful little community. I was like, ah. So I'm telling you, I'm giving you permission to dream in this area. There's so many opportunities to make money on this. There are dozens of manufacturers out there in what used to be considered the bad word, manufactured homes, okay? These are nice. The construction's good, they're complete, they're to code, everything, and they usually go up like that. And some of these companies will even finance the purchase for you. So when you have a piece of property and you're checking the local codes on it, you're going, okay, what can I do with this? So I've got one piece of property I'm looking at right now. And it's not quite, it's too big for one property, but I'm like, well, wait a second. What if I put 3 tiny homes on it? Ran it by the city. They're like, yeah, as long as you have parking over here, doing this and that. Now I'm in the process of talking to the manufacturers. I'm not doing any building. All I have to do is make sure the foundation is ready for them to get there. And one day after another, they'll put each one of them in there. And at the end of each day, that house is hooked up and ready to go. The only thing that this property needed was the washer and dryer, and it has the hookups. Okay, these were like 490 square feet. You put some codes on the deal. It was right near a college, a university. So now we've got temporary housing for some of the universities. So we've got, I mean, there's just so many facets to this. So that goes back to community. What does the community have and what can support this? Why would somebody want one of these small homes? And this is almost what's old is new. This is, if you look in some of these old post-war communities, a lot of these homes were built like that. Super small, very efficient, and people had an opportunity to have that dream of owning a piece of property. So one of the things you need to look at is a master plan. What's your concept behind this? So if you're going in and let's just use 5 acres. You've got 5 acres and you want to put, say, 10 small little homes on there. What is your plan? What's the attraction to get people in there? So there's one tiny home builder that's out of Utah, and he's building a tiny home community. And they're in 10-unit like neighborhoods. So he wanted it to make it that everybody kind of runs into each other instead of everybody getting into their house and leaving. So in between all the homes is a community area. It's got the barbecue, the swing sets, everything. That's the front of the house. No cars. There's pickleball out there, the whole 9 yards. Everybody parks in the back, and then the community is forced into the middle. This is what I'm speaking of when I say, what is your master plan when you're doing this? What's the concept, or is it just a one-off? It doesn't have to be that you're doing multiple like Brian's doing. It means that you have some kind of a concept. What's going to attract people there? What's going to motivate people to want to live in that particular community? Because remember, you're going to be selling these or renting them out. Zoning is extremely important. You got to have the county on your side. Now, I live in California. You've all heard of the nightmares over there. They're not a nightmare, they're a reality. Okay, California is extremely difficult to work with on this. But I've been to other parts of the country where you go in there, you present the plans, they're like, yep, pay the money and you're good to go. Okay, so this is crucial. Don't find a piece of property, then fall in love with it. I would rather see you do the opposite. Find a community where the county is easy to work with, and then fall in love with a piece of property. I had again, I'm going to pick on California here, and you in California know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a builder named Tony here down in Southern California, and he started doing this, and he went out to Ohio, and he called me up. He says, "You're not going to believe." I went down to the county, I presented my plans, they stamped it. I paid the $3,400 and I literally can start building tomorrow. He goes, "I feel like somebody needs to pinch me." So again, community, then the land. Not always convenient. Sometimes you find the property and you have to deal with the community in, but super important. Plan and development. This is super crucial. Take some time to visit some of these manufacturers. They're all over the country. Matter of fact, there's one right just north of us in Canada that literally makes steel homes, and they bring the facility to the community and they crank the properties out right there. Everything is right there. They bring the roll of steel, they're building it. It's all there. But the one problem with them is it's considered mobile home, which is okay if that's what you're looking at doing. But again, now we go back to the planning side of it. You get this concept, you go, wow, this is really cool. And it's like, wait a second, that's considered actually a mobile home. Will the county allow that? So again, planning. There are some out there that have, like, they specialize in strange looking homes, skinny ones, tall ones, all sorts of, and then take advantage of some of the new technology out there. Some of the heating systems that are out there now, obviously you can take advantage of solar and stuff like that. If they're small enough, a few well-placed solar panels with a battery, and they're pretty much off grid in most cases. So people don't have to worry about whether the power goes on and off. And I know that seems so weird, but in this current time with some of the power shortages that we've seen all over the country, it's kind of nice. Plus people feel, oh man, I don't have any power bills ever again. Depending on where the temperature is, up or down, that could be a key factor. This is a big one. You've heard me talk about this in other videos, is infrastructure placement. Because I'm buying this lot, is there power to the lot? Okay, if there's not power like right to the lot, if there's not sewer right in front of the lot, stop, pump the brakes, and start finding out what that infrastructure is. I have got a ton of homes that I have built, okay, because somebody had a dream, they bought the land, then started doing that, and they're like, I've got $60,000 worth of infrastructure that I've got to put in before I can even consider building. That means bringing the power over, getting a hot water meter in there, septic tank or sewer, whatever that is. You need to understand how crucial that is. I guess you won't understand it until you actually run into the problem. So I have got properties right now that I'm buying because people had that vision and they didn't have the planning. Don't be that person. Something that's crucial right now is that sustainability factor. Okay, what's that environmental? How big of a footprint are you leaving? And this is all on the marketing side of things. Look, we have power, we have sewer, we have all that, but we have solar with batteries. So your bills are going to be non-existent. What kind of building materials are you constructing the property with? What are the common areas? What's the attraction to the particular area? I know I'm saying that over and over again, but it's super important to have that. What's going to make somebody want to buy a small home and actually have that community within there? Because you're right next to some people on that. Here's another thing, storage. Okay, so they have carport or what have you. What other outside storage will you provide for this particular, call it mini subdivision, if you will? I've seen people even take in container, the shipping container stuff, and make those into storage containers where people can rent portions of that out for their kayaks or whatever they have that they normally wouldn't bring in the house. A lot of planning up front is going to not only make you a lot of money, but save a lot of headaches in the long run. Tiny home construction is booming, not because it's cute, it's because it's necessary. The affordability of it is extremely crucial, and that's why all of these things are important. And one of the key things to tiny home construction is what it does for the community. Look, I've traveled all over the world, and one of the things that sometimes I think we miss here in the United States is the community. So a lot of people are getting away from the big McMansions and what have you, And people sometimes don't even know who their neighbors are. I love those small community where you're waving at somebody, hey, call up Diane, can you come over and take out my garbage? I'm going to be gone. Or, hey, I got to go to the store, watch Shannon for a little bit, whatever that might be. This really forces community. And after what our country's been through over the pandemic and what have you, I think that that's a key issue. Obviously, I'm really excited about the tiny home movement that's going on. I'm involved in it. I know a lot of the key people. I've got brand new training on this. If you want extensive A to Z training on this, I invite you to a brand new video that I just put together. Just go to higginsmethod.com, and I've got it's a gift, okay? It's training, a lot more in depth than what we're doing right now, but it'll answer all your questions. Click that link and that's my gift to you. God bless and good luck.